Right. Welcome back to the Vengacast. Today we've went international. Adam's joining with from.
Palmer. I didn't realise you wanted me to say where I was. I panicked. Forgot.
You forgot where you were.
Newcastle.
And then James, you are in
Newcastle.
Love that. Same. It's my first one in Newcastle, so should be
Is it
interesting.
actually?
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's kind of mad that.
Yeah. I
Road
know.
trip.
Well, I guess.
On tour.
Then go on tour. Adam's went back to Magaluf just for us.
Just me.
We were like, we need one representative over there for a podcast, so Adam's went and volunteered.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's how things are going.
Right, so,
totally not a holiday.
So this is sort of the big one. It's just first round mock drafts. Obviously, the draft is on Thursday night and Friday night, and well, the later rounds are all day Saturday, but no one really watches the later rounds unless you're proper die-hard NFL fan.
I don't even think many people watch the second round.
Yeah, but the first round's the main one. That's where all the sort of elite players go. Well, who you'd assume are going to be elite anyway. So, should we just go from 1 to 32? Just go through each pick, see who we're going to.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Right. Do you want me to start?
If you want to, yes.
Go on then.
So no shocker here. I've got the Cardinals, just like everyone has them, taking Kyler Murray with the first pick, quarterback from Oklahoma. I guess the main thing he has is Josh Rosen good enough to keep at the Cardinals. And although I do really think Josh Rosen's a good quarterback, but I do think it would be quite hard to pass up on someone like Kyler Murray, especially with all the sort of hype that's been around him and everyone just automatically assuming now that he is going to go number 1 to the Cardinals. And it also helps that his head coach literally said last year, if I had the number 1 pick in the draft, I would take Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I've agreed with you on this one. I've said Kyler Murray as well, unsurprisingly. I think it just kind of becomes so clear that it seems quite obvious that the Cardinals are going to take him. Obviously, there's a lot of logic in keeping Rosen and then going for like defense. But I think, as you said, what the coach said, I think they will go with this.
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, I've gone with exactly the same. I said Kyler Murray, but I think they need to trade Josh Rosen away before the draft.
Yeah,
because otherwise they're kind of screwed, if that makes sense. Because if they've got 2 quarterbacks, the rest of the teams in the NFL know that.
Yeah,
they lose their kind of upper hand at being able to trade away Josh Rosen for a better pick.
It's like what you were saying to me on Saturday. The sort of people are sort of trying to call their bluff at the minute. Like, are they going to keep Rosen or are they not? But if they take Murray here and still have Rosen, then the value for Rosen is going to go down quite considerably.
Yeah, exactly.
The main question with Kyler Murray is sort of his size. People are saying he's not tall enough to be a quarterback in this league, and he's sort of weak and won't. I don't know. People just really doubt a lot of shorter quarterbacks, especially nowadays. But I don't know. I think Russell Wilson's not the tallest, and look at the career he's had. He's probably the quarterback I would compare him to the most. And how you going?
I would say the O-line, just the way they kind of naturally move and shift, creates kind of vision lanes for him to kind of look through. Yeah. So it's not about just being able to look over. And the O-line can just get lower. I know that might not be ideal, but if they can get lower for Kyler Murray to be able to see a little bit better.
Yeah.
I guess.
I also see, I can also see him a bit like the kind of player that Mahomes was last season.
Mm-hmm.
As in, can move around quite a lot and make these kind of that you're just not expecting, kind of that extra skill kind of.
Yeah, he's very the benefit of him being a bit shorter is he's a lot more agile. Like I think
he'll be lethal NFL, outside the pocket.
Yeah, in the modern NFL, I think most quarterbacks sort of also need to partially be a running back as well and just be ready to rush whenever. Sort of like a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen or these quite new quarterbacks that we see coming through. I think that's quite an important aspect that teams look for nowadays. So
100%, yeah.
I think that's maybe why the Cardinals aren't too put off by his height if they were to go from. I'm assuming that they're going from here. It seems so likely now, but yeah, his main weakness is his size and his sort of power.
Mm-hmm.
Even with his arm strength, though, with his background in baseball, I think he'll still have the arm strength.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Power-wise, he'll still be fine. I still think he'll be able to throw the ball deep downfield. So I don't think that's what they're worried about. I just think they're worried that he's going to be too short to maybe spot the gaps.
Yeah,
and that's the only thing they could be put off by.
Sort of sounds like bullying him a bit, but maybe too short to see over the D line.
Yeah,
exactly. Or his own O-line.
But if he just rolls out the pocket, I think he'll be dangerous outside of the pocket, and then you just get a better view because you've got open field in front of you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, obviously.
Obviously
the Cardinals coach obviously believes in him a lot, as we've mentioned. So I think he wouldn't have any worries about picking him because he already rates him very highly.
Yeah, and then moving on to number 2 with the 49ers, probably a player who I think it's safe to say maybe 3 months ago everyone thought would go number 1 before Murray declared for the draft, Nick Bosa. I'm assuming you two have the same going at number 2 to the 49ers.
Yeah,
I do, yes.
Yeah.
As you said, 2-3 months ago, I would have definitely had him number 1. But obviously what's happened with Kyler Murray obviously has San Francisco going for him. And I think they need a pass rusher, so that's why I've gone with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just saying the same as James. With the second pick, what the Giants did, you just choose the best player that's left in the roster.
Yeah.
And that's Nick Bosa for the 49ers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, like we were saying before, I think if you sort of move away from all the Kyler Murray sort of hype, Nick Bosa probably is the best player in this draft at the minute on paper. Obviously, it never usually turns out that way quite often, but I think on paper he definitely looks the best at the minute.
I agree with that.
I also think sort of it comes naturally to him. I was watching a sort of video and they were interviewing him, and his dad played in the NFL, his uncle played in the NFL, his brother plays in the NFL now, and I know he quit.
Who does his brother play for?
The Chargers.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, but I know he quit Ohio State early last year to sort of train with his brother. So his brother's literally been training him at an NFL level. So I don't think any player coming into this will be more ready for the NFL than him because he's been training with Joey.
Having that prior knowledge as well. Your brother's in the NFL, he can tell you what to expect. But also that competition he'll have to be better than his brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Number 3, I've got Josh Allen from Kentucky going to the Jets.
I've gone different on this one.
I've gone different on that one as well.
I've gone Quinn Williams.
Yeah, I've gone the same as you, James.
Quinn and Williams. Do you want me to start, or do you just want to say why you've got Quinn and Williams?
I think will be impossible for the Jets to pass on Williams because I think he's something like 6'4" or 5", and
he's
very
a beast,
big guy, and I think had quite a few sacks last season. I think Jets have a good looking offense with Donald and Bell going into the new season. I think they need to improve on the defense a little bit as well to help that.
Yeah. Mine's just the same as James. But from watching some of the Jets highlights, their issue was just they were never putting pressure on the quarterback. So to have that big defensive tackle to kind of just run down the middle, stop runs, they were just missing that. They kind of just had a hole in the middle of their D-line.
Yeah.
And I think they can't pass up on that opportunity.
I just went for Josh Allen because I think a lot of teams, not just the Jets, are in for pass rusher in this draft, looking for ones especially. And he's just ridiculously tall at 6'5" for a rusher. He ran the 40 at 4.63, which is also impressive for his position. And he's just so strong and just pretty much everything that you want in the modern day edge rusher. With the league, so I don't know, all lines are getting stronger, so you really need them edge rushers to start getting more like an O-line size, but then also have the speed to outrun them, but then at the same time the power to hold them off and get to the quarterback. So I don't know, he just looks so ready-made for the NFL.
He reminds me a lot of JJ Watt.
Yeah.
That's what, the speed and the power he's got.
Yeah. if I had to compare him to a player, I'd probably say Anthony Barr at the Vikings. He's quite similar to him, just in terms of his build and his speed. Because obviously Anthony Barr plays against the Packers twice a year, so I know what he's sort of like, and he always has good games against us. So I would sort of expect Josh Allen to come in and do the same, no matter where he goes. But in particular for the Jets, here at number 3. Going on to number 4, then I'm guessing you both have Josh Allen there, maybe.
I do.
The Raiders.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And I have Quinnen Williams. Well, we've pretty much talked about that, so should we just move on to number 5?
Yeah, kind of same reasoning.
Yeah. Number 5 for the Bucks, I went Devin White from LSU, the linebacker.
I have gone with the same.
Oh, I went for Ed Oliver.
Okay.
Ooh.
James, me and you are starting.
I think, obviously, I'm a fan of LSU.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with him. I think he's a very good he's a linebacker, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of athleticism and like speed, and I think he can really kind of improve that Bucks defense. So
Yeah.
I rate him very highly.
One thing with Devin White, which I noticed, he's got like really, because obviously I watched him in that game when you played UCF. His legs are he has like really short legs, but I think that helps him massively because it gives him a better sort of centre of gravity, so it improves his sort of running style, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was a bit unorthodox, but I guess that helps sometimes because if defenders can't predict, well, the O-line in this case can't predict how he's sort of going to defend against them, I don't know. I think that really benefits them. I think the Bucks really need a sort of standout elite player. And I think if they want a sort of big name who's going to get fans excited, I think Devin White's a good pick here for them. Yeah. But then at the same time, I think another player who's got a lot of hype around them, who definitely could go at number 5, like Adam has, is Ed Oliver.
Yeah,
so why
exactly
should Ed Oliver go at number 5? That's what I'm saying. Why have you got Ed Oliver going to the Bucks?
Just similar with the Jets. Like, I know all the talk was around Fitzmagic, but their defense was never strong in those first 3 games. Like, the games they won, they just won, and they were big scores. And they got absolutely blown out by the Bears. It was like 35-3 in the first quarter. I don't even think they touched Trubisky, much to your disappointment, Joe. And similar to the Jets, they just need someone in the middle of that defense to stop the runs and to kind of put a little bit of pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, really.
Number 6 then, sort of the first position where we get a few question marks in this draft.
Pick up the boys.
Obviously been a lot of talk about whether the Giants should go quarterback or go defensive. What's your take on it, Adam?
I think we go defensive. It's such a strong defensive draft this year. I know I've said this to you outside of podcasts, but it's such a strong defense coming through that we can't afford to miss up on taking a quality defender. Like, because that's our issue, is our defense. Yeah. Like the games we've lost have been a 1-score game, and we've always been competing, and it's just been our defense that's let us down. Because when I've watched games, there's been stupid mistakes I've seen where we've given up a first down on a 3rd and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I know you. You go on.
We need a defender rather than a quarterback at number 6.
Yeah, and I know you were saying to me the other day about Eli Manning and how you think maybe he got a bit more stick than what he deserves. So do you want to talk about that a bit more? Sort of get your point across for that.
I saw a video on YouTube explaining that Eli Manning's actually still a good quarterback, and it was someone that went through all his plays, like literally every single Giant play, which I don't know how you could do, saying that he's still a good quarterback. He's still got the arm, but it was Odell Beckham Jr.'s fault that we lost some of the games and there was no need for him to call him out.
How was it Odell's fault?
Because the only time Eli would throw a risky throw or make a risky play was when he was throwing to Beckham. And instead of going through his reads, you'd throw into double coverage, or if he hadn't beaten his man. And our O-line was just shocking as well. Like, talk about that, it was dreadful. Probably second, third worst in the league.
So if going against the popular opinion that most people assume losing Beckham makes the Giants worse, would you argue because of that reason? Maybe not better, but do you think less stupid players, more smart players?
I think it makes the Giants overall worse, but Eli Manning a better quarterback.
Yeah.
Because there was a play that he showed, 4th and 3 against the Panthers, and Beckham just flat out drops the ball. And there's one against the Cowboys, 3rd and 8, and he doesn't make an attempt to grab the ball because he's going to get hit. He's not a greedy wide receiver. He makes plays when it suits him.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my tone's changed because I used to love Beckham, but ever since he left, I don't like.
All right. Well,
I just think Eli will be a better quarterback without Beckham.
Yeah. Well, based off that, then who would you take at number 6 for the Giants?
Rashan Gary.
I've exactly the same from Michigan.
Me too.
Oh wow.
Obviously, his hometown's literally New Jersey, so he's going to know the Giants well. I think, is he a Giants fan? I swear I saw somewhere that he's a Giants fan.
Yeah, I swear I've seen something like that as well. Not a clue though.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think this is, like you were saying, he's probably too good to pass up on here, especially if you can get another year out of Eli. Whether it's a good or a bad year, because worst case scenario, you have a horrendous year, but get a sort of franchise quarterback in the next draft.
Yeah, definitely.
Jake Fromm.
Yeah, Jake Fromm or someone like that. Why would you, obviously you're being a Giants fan, would you like to see Rashan Gary, and why?
Just edge rusher. That's what like you say, most teams in the league need an edge rusher, and he's a quality one, and we can't afford to miss it.
Right, James, anything you want to say about Rashan Gary?
I think also getting the Giants got rid of Vernon, didn't they?
Yeah, we did. We traded him.
Olivia Vernon.
So I think they need a pass rusher as well. So, but yeah, I think they'll give Eli Manning one more year, and then, as you said, take a franchise quarterback next year in the draft.
Right. Next one, at number 7, the Jags. Who's you got there?
Jawan Taylor. I don't know if I said that right.
Yeah, you did.
I'm the same as James.
Yep, hat-trick again. I've got Jawan Taylor.
Can't me anymore.
Wow, it's almost as if we planned this.
A player born in Florida, going to college in Florida, and staying in Florida with the Jags. Why have you got Jawan Taylor going to Jacksonville?
I think it's to protect Nick Foles. I think they need protection on the quarterback because he's the offensive lineman, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I want to make sure.
Yeah, he's a tackle.
He's offensive tackle.
Yeah, offensive. Yeah. I think the offense needs help and protection, and I think they could even obviously they could take a receiver, which I do think they need. But I think it starts with protection for the quarterback.
Yeah. Do you think because of how much faith they put into Nick Foles, like that big contract that they gave him, I think strengthening the offensive line is massively important. Probably the main priority for the Jags in this draft.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, with I think it's like 66 million guaranteed or something like that in an 86 million contract. They can't afford him to be getting hit or sacked constantly, and they just need to help out that O-line, almost just to protect them financially.
He started the year at £380. He's dropped it to £347. Why do you think he's sort of done that going into this? Just maybe helps his acceleration a bit, maybe values his speed more than his strength.
It'll be, I think, to make him more mobile, to kind of get out to that D-line rather than letting them come towards him and make that pocket bigger for Nick Foles. Yeah. If he goes to the Jags, make that pocket bigger for him. So he rushes the defender rather than letting the defender rush him. Yeah, I just think overall this is such a, not obvious, but it just makes so much sense for the Jags to take him here because that O-line is probably their number one priority by far. Number 8, the Lions. I think this is where it sort of starts to get a bit, anyone can go anywhere from this point out. I've got TJ Hawkinson, the tight end from Iowa, going here at number 8. Ooh.
I have Jonah Williams.
Oh, we're all
Alabama.
separate. I've got Brian Burns from Florida State.
Okay. Right. Should I start it? TJ
Yeah.
Hawkinson.
Go on then.
Right. TJ Hawkinson, as I mentioned, tight end from Iowa. He's 6'5". For a tight end, he had a decent 40 time. He ran it in 4.7 seconds. I just think it's just pretty simple. The Lions need a tight end, more weapons for, just more weapons in general. They could do with more wide receivers, tight ends. They could do with a better running back, in my opinion. They just need everything, really. And I think this is sort of the best offensive player who's going to be available on the board at the time. Other than maybe, someone like DK Metcalf, who's probably going to still be there. But I think tight end is still a higher priority for them than wide receiver. So I think simply I would just go TJ Hawkinson just for the sake of filling the need.
Me next or James?
It's up to you.
You can go, Adam.
I'll go next. I said Brian Burns because he's another edge rusher or an outside linebacker, and a lot of mock drafts I looked at said he was going to the Lions, so I thought, wow, be a sheep, follow the crowd, go with them.
I like Brian Burns, to be fair, from Florida.
You just like anyone from Florida, except for the mentalists.
Yeah. Florida man. Florida man, Giants Lions.
Florida man Burns. Florida man Burns.
James will finish with you then.
So I want Jonah Williams.
That was a horrendous joke.
I didn't even mean for it to be a joke. I just meant Burns as in like Brian Burns.
I was trying to work out what you guys were going on about.
I want just sat there laughing, not even knowing.
It was so stupid.
Right, sorry.
I went for a guard. I think.
Yeah. Jonah Williams, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep. I know I think, as we're kind of talking about with the Jags, I think an O-line is very important in creating a good offense, and I think giving Stafford that extra time could help him massively. So that's kind of the main reason I went with it. I kind of struggled with it, so I did think about the tight end option of Hawkinson, and also Fant as well. But
yeah, Fant's good.
I think
that's sort of best player available. Really.
Yeah.
Do you think he would be the best player available at that stage? Overall, like all positions.
Potentially not.
Potentially not the best player, but for what the Lions need, the best player.
Yeah, like I was saying, this is the sort of position where it just gets really blurry of who's good here and who's not, I guess.
Yeah, and also, because also so much can change at the top. That can change teams' opinions.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like a lot of teams don't go best player available, do they? They'll go system fits into what positions they need to.
Yeah. Not all Giants.
Number 9, the Bills. Who do you have there?
Adam.
I got Montez Sweat.
Monty.
Did I say his name right?
Montez.
Montez Sweat.
There we go.
Sorry.
Originally, I had him going around here, but then I think I saw. Was it you, Joe, that sent something?
Yeah, he might drop out the first round even.
He might even drop because of
He's got heart problems, I think, something like that.
So I actually have Hawkinson going to the Bills.
Well, 3 different options again. I have DK Metcalf, wide receiver from Ole Miss. All right, James, I'll let you start them. Just pretty much the same as what I was saying for the Lions, just more weapons for the Bills, maybe.
Yeah. Again, I thought this, like the Lions, I thought it was between an O-lineman and kind of tight end. But I think this supports Josh Allen, who I thought had a good end of the year last year, and I think this will support him well. I think Noah Fant could also go in this position. So I think they'll take one of the Iowa tight ends. I think he'll just support the offense and help Josh Allen massively.
Yeah. Adam?
Edge rusher again, pretty much. Same as the Lions. For the Bills, their offense is getting stronger and stronger. Like, they've got a huge run game going. Like, you could be right with DK Metcalf going there, Joe.
Yeah.
But for when I made this, I felt they just need to strengthen that defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just went DK Metcalf because I think he's literally, as he said himself, he's a once in a lifetime wide receiver because of how athletically freakish he is in terms of his build. Ridiculously quick, ridiculously tall. Just everything about him's just sort of, if you could build a perfect wide receiver on paper again, because we never know how they're going to play it in the NFL once they get there. I just think if he's still here, it would be hard for the Bills to look at him and pass up on maybe a franchise wide receiver for the next, don't know, maybe even 15 years, depending on how healthy he stays. So yeah, I think purely because of the excitement level, and they missed out on Antonio Brown, who obviously would have been huge for them in the off season, but that's probably a bullet miss now, looking back on that.
Yeah.
I just think Metcalf would really get those Bills fans excited about next season.
Bless them.
Yeah.
Worst team in New York.
I don't know. Did they? Well, they've done better than the Jets last season, I guess. So at the minute, they're second best. Actually, at the minute, they're the best. So.
Right. Nobody rub it in.
Right. Number 10, the Broncos. Could literally be anyone here.
Quarterback going.
You
think they're going to take a quarterback after signing Flacco?
Yep.
I also have Drew Lock.
Oh, man. Well, that's me told, isn't it?
Yes.
Who do you have, like?
Devin White, linebacker.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
So you have Devin White dropping all the way to number 10.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people would have that, to be fair.
But what can I say, I followed the crowd with whoever I said, Brian Burns.
You've went completely against it.
And now I'm just against it now. What can I say, I never know what's coming up with me. That's the thrill of the Vengacast. You don't know what's up next, do you?
James, as Adam was saying, Broncos have just signed Joe Flacco, but why do they still take a quarterback with their 10th pick?
I don't
and in
know.
particular, Drew Lock.
I know. I think they could start the season with Joe Flacco, like a starting quarterback, a bit like the Ravens did.
But you think
they still
Ravens didn't have Flacco teach him?
Yeah.
A bit, and I think I was really torn with this one because I still think I know John Elway said that thinks Flacco might be entering his prime, but I still have a feeling that he's going to take a quarterback. Don't even know why I was stuck with this one, but I think Drew Lock has shown in the training days that he could edge it above Dwayne Haskins as the top kind of quarterback after Kyler Murray. But I think it's I just haven't taken Drew Lock. What do you think about it, Joe? Because you've got him as well.
I think this will be a very sort of Alex Smith and Mahomes situation from 2 years ago, where it wouldn't surprise me if Drew Lock didn't start a single game in the next season if they did take him here, and he purely just sits and learns, gets used to the sort of playbook and sits on the sidelines and sees what it's really like to be an NFL quarterback. And then I think 2020 he comes in, makes his debut, and just hopefully for the Broncos' sake, well, they'll be hoping anyway, he becomes their franchise quarterback. But
I
think, like you were saying, Drew Lock, I don't think anyone would have had him going anywhere near here until this sort of combine and pro day, and I think he's really helped himself in terms of those performances, what he put in both of them. And now I think the majority of people would have him as the better quarterback than Dwayne Haskins.
Mm-hmm.
Adam? Why?
I
mean, if Devin White falls here, I think the Broncos will be stupid not to take him. So I sort of agree with you in terms of that.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like you said, everyone above kind of looked at not necessarily who the best player in the draft was left, but who fit their scheme, who worked within their team, who they liked, whether it was just their leadership ability or their drive to win. And I think at this point, the draft starts to go, now we pick the best player we can. After all, the first 10, I think, are we pick who we want. Then you start just picking the best players available.
Yeah.
So that's why I just said the Broncos to take Devin White, just for the fact that he isn't the best player left in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. Number 11, the Bengals.
I also haven't taken a quarterback.
On Tuesday.
I haven't taken Dwayne Haskins.
Taking Drew Lock.
I have them taking Devin Bush from Michigan.
Ooh.
So you both think Bengals go quarterback.
Yes.
Why? Do you not rate Andy Dalton?
Nope.
The Bengals said that they're not gonna. I'm pretty sure the Bengals said that they're not extending Dalton's contract past the 2019 season. So, or before. I mean, sorry. So I mean that kind of holds that in that well, that could be a bit I think that holds that one on edge, and I think they'll take a quarterback. I still could see them, like the Broncos, starting Dalton in the 2019 season. But
yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, they're looking for a new quarterback, and just Drew Lock is the best one in the draft after Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean, I just went Devin Bush because I do think the Bengals will take a quarterback in the draft, but I think they'll wait till the second or third round to maybe pick up a sort of one who's not expected to go so high. I'd quite like to see Daniel Jones maybe go there if he falls into the second round, which I think he probably will. But yeah, I just think at the minute, I think defense is the main priority for the Bengals again, as it is with a lot of teams this year. And I just think Devin Bush will be too good of a player to miss out on, especially with the 11th pick.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. But I think you are both definitely right. If they do want to go for it this year, then they do take a quarterback at 11. And I do think either Drew Lock or Haskins will be available there for sure.
Yep.
Number 12, the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, exciting.
Who have you got for them, Joe?
I have Ed Oliver from Houston.
What position, too?
Defensive tackle.
Ooh.
I have Ed Oliver.
Ooh.
From Houston.
I know Adam doesn't have him.
I have TJ Hawkinson.
You know, I would actually be happy with TJ Hawkinson, to be fair, but I don't. A lot of people think we need a tight end. I don't necessarily think that, but from a neutral point of view, Adam, why do you think we need a tight end?
Just with the loss of Randall Cobb, so you've lost a wide receiver. Fill it in with a tight end, you know what I mean? Mix it up a bit. No, I feel like what you said, he's not huge, he's quick. He almost could play wide receiver, but I think
I was looking, I think he did play some snaps for Iowa at wide receiver.
Yeah, he'll dwarf the cornerbacks, put him on the shallow routes, and just throw it high up for him, and he'll bring it in. He'll just be a reliable option to replace Cobb to pick up a 3rd and 2, or a 4th and 1. And you never know, with the size he is, he could shrug off a few tackles and might pull off a huge run on some of them. Yeah. Because he looks like he's hard to tackle, hard to bring down.
I definitely wouldn't be against taking a tight end because I do think Jimmy Graham has been so disappointing for us. But saying that, I would like to just give him another year under this new offensive scheme just to see how he does. James, me and you both have Ed Oliver. I'll let you start. Why would Ed Oliver and the Packers be a nice fit?
Yeah, I think the Packers need to strengthen their D-line a bit. I think he's the perfect fit for that. I think at the stage in the draft, in the draft, I think he'll be the best one available, and I think he'll pair up nicely with Kenny Clark as the other defensive tackle.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I think they'll pair up nicely. So that's my reason.
I might be a bit biased. I just personally love to see Ed Oliver, and Green Bay is an absolute freak. He just got ridiculous numbers at the combine and at his pro day. And I think he's just one of them players where, a bit like, I obviously nowhere near the level of hype that Barkley had last year, but sort of you look at it and you go like, he could really become athletically so gifted and become a star. So, yeah, I think especially the questions for us are mainly on the defensive side. So I would like to personally start there with our higher pick. Number 13, the Miami Dolphins.
I've got, I'm trying to look, Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle from Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Who they just signed, Fitzmagic, build up their defense.
Yeah.
Strengthen it up. Just makes sense for me to.
I think the Dolphins are going to be heavy tanking this year. Maybe tanking harder than any other team in the league this year.
You think?
Yeah. Look at the division that they're in. I think that they're going to be tanking quite heavily.
I think it's going to be the Bucks, the Giants, and the Dolphins tanking this year.
Maybe.
They're my three. Sorry, Dan.
For the Bucks, it all depends on how Jameis Winston does for me.
Yeah, same for me.
James, who do you have for 13?
I have, don't know how to say his first, Clelin.
Oh, Cleveland Farrell. Yeah.
Cleveland?
Yeah, Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think...
also from Clemson.
Yeah, I rate him highly. Obviously, part of a very good team. And I think this is the position that they need, Miami. But as I agree with kind of you guys, I think a bit of tanking and try and slowly improve them. For more of a long-term plan, but I think this will get them started well.
Yeah, I know you mentioned before, James, about Montez Sweat and his sort of heart problems and why some GMs are maybe not looking at him as a first round anymore. But I think the position that the Dolphins are in, it's a risk worth taking for them because, like I said, they're going to have a poor year for sure. And I think why not take a risk on someone who could become as amazing as Montez Sweat? If it doesn't pay off, then you're going to have another good pick next year. So if I was the Dolphins, I would say go for it.
Fair enough.
14, the Falcons. I have Christian Wilkins from Clemson. So Adam's already explained how good he is at defensive tackle. Just an absolute beast. Obviously, national championship winner with Clemson. So he knows what winning feels like. And I think the Falcons have a talented enough roster where they're going to be in win now mode straight away. No rebuilding there.
Yep. I've got the Falcons taking Greedy Williams from LSU. He's a cornerback.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that the Falcons need to improve their secondary massively, and I don't know if I'm being biased because he's from LSU, but I rate him very highly. As probably the I think I'd say he's the best cornerback in the draft personally, but I mean that's me.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
I've got Andre Dillard from Washington State, offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Just protection on Matt Ryan. They're paying him a ton of money. Keep him healthy. Keep him upright. Go find Julio Jones. I feel that's what the Falcons are going to be thinking.
Yeah. You think just for individual players, that just improves each play?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's not going to do anything ridiculously special, but he'll do the dirty work.
Well, even if he can create 2 more seconds for Matt Ryan, that's improving his accuracy to find someone like Julio Jones massively. So I think that's fair.
Yeah, it gives Jones 2 more seconds to run away from, to like break off from his cornerback.
Yeah, and he can probably beat most cornerbacks, to be fair.
Yeah.
15, the Redskins.
I've got Daniel Jones, quarterback from Duke.
Ooh.
Because the way I see... Oh, James, you want to say it?
You go on.
The way I see it with Case Keenum, they're going to use him to train Jones up for a year. And I think the Redskins see huge potential in him. So even though you say he could go second round, they see huge potential in him. And they're just going to train him up for a year, maybe 2. To then come in and hopefully be their franchise quarterback.
Yeah. James? 15?
I've not actually... I think they need a quarterback, but I've not actually gone with a quarterback because I think they could actually take Josh Rosen. So I'm going to actually go for
Remember, they've still got Alex Smith as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether they're just taking Jones to then kind of be trained under both quarterbacks. Who knows?
Plus, if in your defense, if you take Jones, he's not expected to be a starter straight away. So it's low risk, high reward if it comes off for the Redskins.
They've got time to train him up, but teach him to read defenses.
Yeah. James, who do you have then if you don't have them taking a quarterback?
Yeah, I've been taking Brian Burns from Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I think they might actually take Josh Rosen. at quarterback, to help their quarterback problems. And I think they lost Preston Smith. Did he not go to you, Joe?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, I think they do need like an edge, like a pass rusher. So that's what I'm going for.
I do have them taking the quarterback, and I think they get very lucky here and get a starting quarterback for next year, and Dwayne Haskins. This was a hard one because I didn't know whether to have him drop 2 places lower and go to the team that he supports in the Giants, and he's from New York. And I think that would have been just a nice story, but then I sort of looked at the other side, the flip side of this, and I think maybe he wants to play the Giants twice a year if they miss out on them at 6. And he gets to do that with the Redskins, and maybe he puts in the 2 performances of his life against the Giants, just sort of take out his anger on them. I would like to say this pick purely because of that, just to sort of see him like have a go at the Giants and make them regret not taking him. Maybe have a go at Gettleman and get him in even more, well, not trouble, but just make him a bit even bigger laughing stock than what he is now, which is quite hard to do. But
huge one.
Yeah, I think Dwayne Haskins could go here, and that would be quite interesting to see. The Panthers at 16.
I've got Cody Ford, guard / offensive tackle out of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just keep Cam Newton upright, pretty much, keep him healthy. Because I think they're still looking for that rebound after the Super Bowl loss to the Broncos.
Yeah.
And I think they just think that this is then going to give them a fighting chance to make playoffs. Because I'd argue they're in one of the hardest divisions to make playoffs, at least.
Oh, yeah. In the I would maybe say top 2 hardest in the NFC for sure.
Definitely.
James?
I've got them taking Andre Dillard from Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him going any later than this. I think they'll get lucky and he'll still be available, and I think they need help for their O-line as well. What about you, Joe? Who have you gone for?
I think the Panthers are rebuilding that defense massively. They do realise they need to improve it quite a bit, and I think Brian Burns falls here, and I don't think they can pass up on Brian Burns because they do need an edge rusher, and he's probably the best edge rusher still on the board at this point, if my mock draft goes as I've had it so far. So I just think it's a bit of a no-brainer for the Panthers. You take Brian Burns here. Number 17, we're back to the Giants. Adam, I'll let you start.
This depends for me. I put 2 options here, depending on what happens further up. So I said Cleveland Farrell, the defensive end, or Dwayne Haskins if he's still around.
Okay.
I think if Haskins drops to 17, we take him. If he's gone, we take Farrell.
I agree with that. If he's still there, I think you take Dwayne Haskins at 17.
Because he's a good quarterback. Like, even though he had that poor combine, he's still a good quarterback. Like, his arm power. But I just remember seeing some of his games when his feet aren't lined up perfectly. He's sometimes less accurate.
Yeah.
But also that pro day he had when his wide receiver slipped. His instinct to run straight over to check he was all right is what we need. He's a leader and he cares for the team. And he's a Giants fan. And I think he'll put in an effort every single game to get the best result.
Yeah, well, you always can. I know players would never admit it, but you would put that extra bit of effort in.
Yeah, if it was a home club, you put an extra effort. I think.
James, who do you have the Giants statement?
1 second. I have them taken Montez Sweat.
Right. That would be a good fit.
Yeah, I think although he's got the problem, he's worth the risk because I think he's he's a very good player. And who were you saying? Who did you have them going? Did you have them going to Miami, Joe?
Who's the
Montez?
Yeah, I had him going to the Dolphins at 13.
Yeah,
I had the Bills at 9.
Yeah, you had him going Bills.
Yeah, the kind of same reasoning as you, Joe. I think Giants aren't in a position to really challenge highly, so I think he is worth the risk. As you have him worth the risk at the Dolphins, because I do rate him very, very highly.
Yeah.
I think the only reason he drops this far is because of the health problems.
I didn't know he had the health problems when I made the draft. So now
Yeah,
that that's
but-
confirmed, things change around. Like, obviously, with the draft, things change around so much.
I know when you are GM, you do look into things like that, but
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. I think he's got here to this point. He's proven he's an elite athlete, and it's not bothering him too much. So, I
guess
would like to see him have a good year individually.
He'll have a shorter career probably with health issues, but I think what'll happen is, like you said, with health issues, GMs are likely to pass up on him just for the risk. So we might take him at our first in our second round pick. I think we got a second.
He could fall. A lot of people are saying he will fall out the first round, and I think if he does, whoever gets him in the second round will be laughing their head off at what a steal they've got there.
Yeah, I bet he ends up going to the Patriots, and then his health problem goes away. He's like,
if he fall, I'll say it. Obviously, we haven't got the Packers at 30 yet, but if he falls to the 30th spot, I would love it if the Packers took a chance on him. But I guess we'll see what happens with Montez Sweat. At 17, I have the Giants taking Jonah Williams, offensive line. I just think obviously, if you do take a quarterback this year, which if you don't take one at 17, I don't think you will. But I just think it would be good to get this offensive line ready for that new quarterback who comes in, just so that there's no instant. Well, just take a bit of pressure off and make it a bit more comfortable for them when they do come in, to give them the best start possible.
Like you said, the O-line does need to be fixed, but with Zietler coming in from the Browns, which is arguably one of the best centers in the game, I don't think we'll be taking one in the draft because of that.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I just think, personally, if I was like the Giants, I would just go, let's just make this offensive line as good as we can for when a quarterback does come in.
Yeah, true.
The Vikings at 18. Who have we got?
I got.
What you got, Adam?
Jonah Williams. Exact same reason as you, Joe. Help Kirk Cousins out because
he does need help.
He was poor. Is that bias coming in there?
No. He does need help. Let's be honest. That Vikings offensive line was so disappointing and just underperformed hugely last year.
Yeah, it's just it's disappointing because the rest of the offense is really good.
Well, it's not disappointing, but it's quite satisfying. But I know what you mean.
I just think he needs help. Kirk Cousins needs help in that pocket.
Yeah, definitely. James, who you got the Vikings taking?
I've gone for Garrett Bradbury.
Mm-hmm. Sam.
So I think as you guys were saying, I think, to be honest, the O-line is what needs to be improved on most.
Yeah.
And I just see him as the best available player for them left.
Yeah. All three of them went offensive linemen, but I've went for Cody Ford from Oklahoma. Very similar to Jonah Williams, quite similar players. I just think Jonah Williams is slightly better than Cody Ford, so he goes a spot ahead of him. Pretty simple. And the Vikings just take the best offensive lineman available at that time.
Fair enough.
The Titans at 19, a divisional rival of the Colts. James, who do you have them taking?
Christian Wilkins.
What? I'm surprised you had. I'm surprised. Adam, where did you have Christian Wilkins going?
Number 13 to the Dolphins.
Yeah, Adam 14, and you've got him dropping all the way to 19. So do you think this is a bit of a steal for the Titans, or would you expect them to go around this mark?
I think they'll be very happy with it, yeah. I think he's a very good player. And I think he will help the kind of pass rush along with Casey. I think it is their other defensive tackle. So, yeah, I see him as being a good fit, and I think they'll be very happy with that to put more pressure on opposition quarterbacks.
Yep. James? Not James. Adam, who do you have?
For 19, Garrett Bradbury.
All right, so who James had at 18?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I just rated Jonah Williams better than him, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, centers aren't that exciting, are they? So, no offense to centers.
To all the NFL centers that will be listening to this podcast.
After Titans picking up Dexter Lawrence at 19 from Clemson. I just think a defensive tackle may not be the highest on the list, but once again, I sort of went best player available, and I think Dexter Lawrence would be quite a good fit for that scheme, and he'd get quite a good share because the draft is in Tennessee this year.
Well, the more
20.
you know.
Yep. 20, the Steelers.
Go on, James, you first.
Oh, God. Let me just get up. I've got them taking Byron Murray.
Murphy.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I meant that. So I just wasn't concentrating. Yeah. I think he's another very good cornerback in the draft. I know a lot of people think he's the best one.
Yeah.
I know he good tackler and good at covering, and I think he also has kind of very good kind of defensive mind and can read plays. So I think that's what the Steelers will want. So that's why I've gone with him.
Yeah. Adam?
I've got Devin Bush, the linebacker out of Michigan.
Well, you have Devin Bush falling that far.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's probably the biggest surprise so far that we've had.
Just I don't know why I had him falling that far. I just had other people taking players above him. But
so you just think maybe he doesn't fit as much of a need as the players you've had going before him.
Well, like even with the loss of Brown and Bell from the Steelers, they've still got a quality offense with Connor and Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
And it's just the defense that they kind of need to fix a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That secondary has needed work for a while as well.
Yeah.
Which is why I went with Greedy Williams from LSU. I agree with James. I think Greedy Williams is slightly the better cornerback in the draft. And I think he's the best one available. And that secondary does need, I agree with what Adam and you were both saying, that the secondary probably needs help, and the defense especially. That offense is fine in my opinion, despite losing probably their two star guys. Yeah, I think for sure now, looking at it, probably losing Brown was a blessing in disguise. I know who I'd rather have out of Smith-Schuster and Brown at the minute. But, cornerback will be a nice little pickup for the Steelers, whether it's Williams or Murphy. The Seahawks at 21.
Go on, James. We'll have you again first.
I was actually going to pick a wide receiver here. I'm going to go for DK Metcalf.
Right, another big faller.
Well, I'm on the same level as you there. I said wide receiver, but I said AJ Brown.
Fair enough. To be honest, I wouldn't even be. I don't think a wide receiver will go before then. I also could see the Seahawks taking Jeffrey Simons, but he did get. I've gone away from him because he did tear his ACL recently.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be ability-wise, he's one of the best in the draft. But I've gone to DK Metcalf.
So if you have DK Metcalf falling that far, this might be probably the wrong words for it, but do you think he's overrated? Where people like me who have him going at 9, and where did you have him going, Adam?
I haven't said yet.
Well. So do you think just me? I'm just overrating him.
I don't think he's overrated. I just think because of his size, he's going to be slightly slower. And with the NFL players getting faster and faster, like look at Tyreek Hill, arguably one of and like DeAndre Hopkins, both short for the NFL, so it's getting more of a speed game. You know,
I agree.
Just because of his natural height.
At the same time, I think Devontae Adams is one of the slower wide receivers in the league, and he got more touchdowns than any other wide receiver last season. So I guess that's sort of red zone offense. So it does make sense.
I get with Metcalf though, because of his size, you throw a 50-50 ball up, it then becomes a 75-25 ball for Metcalf's favor, just because of his size. I mean, I said, check that maths out. Yeah, get me. I put AJ Brown there because I just think it's whoever the Seahawks rate better to fit in their offense.
Haven't went wide receiver. I've went with Byron Murphy. I think losing, they've lost some key defensive players. And they're trying to trade away Frank Clark as well, the Seahawks, but that you can tell they're sort of trying to rebuild that defense, and they don't have a lot of money to do it, which is why obviously they've just given that huge contract to Russell Wilson, highest paid player in NFL history. So they don't have a lot of money to spend elsewhere now. So I think the draft is where they're going to be looking to pick up these sort of players. And I think Byron Murphy, just at the secondary, be a nice fit. Obviously, they lost Earl Thomas at safety. And I know Byron Murphy isn't a safety, he's a cornerback, but it's still that secondary. And it could do with improving, so go with Byron Murphy. And he's also from Washington, so you wouldn't have to move very far.
Makes sense.
Ravens, 22.
I've gone for Hollywood. Marquise Brown, the wide receiver.
Me and you, same wavelengths, James. Yeah.
You went Hollywood Brown?
Yeah.
Okay, I've went
Marquise.
for... Actually, I'll let you start. Why Hollywood Brown?
Another head coach said that he's interested in wide receivers who are who are quite kind of tough people, and will get stuck in. And I think with Lamar Jackson, I think this will be the perfect kind of fit for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think obviously DK Metcalf will go before that. I think Marquise Brown's the next best, if not.
Yeah.
I also, to be honest, before the kind of combine and stuff, I rated Marquise Brown as the best, but I think it's 21 and 22 where those two will go.
Okay.
What's your reasoning, Adam?
The Ravens have always, recently missed a deep threat wide receiver. They just don't have one. You saw against the Chargers, they knew that and would just cover near. And I feel, like you said, they want receivers that will get stuck in. So I think Marquise Brown seems like the type of guy that will battle a corner back all the way down the sideline to then make the grab. And I just think he'll fit in for Lamar Jackson, letting him throw the ball a bit more.
Yeah. So yeah, I personally, I think the Ravens have got rid of more star defensive players than anyone this off-season. And I think there's got to be a bit of reasoning behind that. Maybe they want to get a bit younger because they did have quite a few aged defensive players like Eric Weddle and Zadarius Smith who were getting a bit older. So I think they go edge rusher here and go Cleveland Ferrell. And I think they absolutely score if this does happen because Cleveland Ferrell dropping the 22, even I was a bit unsure about it when I was putting it down, but I like this pick for the Ravens. I think it's a nice fit from Clemson and he would do very well at the Ravens, I'm sure, in a very competitive division. The Texans at 23.
I have Cody Ford.
Okay. Adam.
The guard from Oklahoma.
I've got Greg Little from Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah.
Ole. Offensive tackle.
I have Andre Dillard from Washington. Offensive tackle again. So we've all went offensive line for the Texans. Why do we all think offensive line is the Texans' priority?
I think it's their main need. So I think it's their weak point.
So Deshaun Watson just needs more time?
Yeah, more time, more protection. I think Cody Ford gives kind of the versatility because he can play tackle or guard. And I think he'll be the best fit at this pick number 23. So
yeah,
that's why I'm going with him.
Just the exact same reason as James, really. Just it's where they need. They'll pick up a player there.
Right, moving on then to 24, the second of the Raiders, 3 first-rounders.
I've got Josh Jacobs, running back out of Alabama.
Snap.
Right. Calm down.
This is a bit of a spoiler, but I have the Raiders taking Josh Jacobs at 27. So I'll just talk about that one now, I guess. Why do we all have Josh Jacobs going to the Raiders? Obviously, the running back from Alabama.
The running back from Alabama. Wait, James, did you have him as well?
Yeah, he said snap.
Oh, I thought you said Nat.
Nap? Why did he say Nap?
No, Nat, as in N-A-H.
Oh.
I was you're wrong.
Oh, okay.
Panicked me.
So we all have, obviously only 3 picks apart, we all have Josh Jacobs ending up at the Raiders. Why did the Raiders need a good running back?
I think the coach needs one. Wants one, sorry.
Just bring some water and stuff.
The coach is like, we need a running back just for me.
John Gruden always loves to run the ball. Was he not the? Am I right in saying he was the coach of Tampa Bay when they won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, in 2005.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I honestly couldn't tell you.
It was 2004 or 5, one of them.
Yeah, and he loved kind of to run the ball, and I think that's what he's going to go with. And I think Josh Jacobs the best running back in the draft.
Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts, Adam? Since you've gone with the same,
I just felt that they've got a wide receiver now. All the decent quarterbacks will have gone, so they won't take one this year. So they'll just fill in that running back position to kind of fix that offense.
Yeah, I mean, I have Josh Jacobs going at 27, but at 24, I've got him going for the last cornerback, in my opinion, who goes in the first round, and that's DeAndre Baker from Georgia. I think the Raiders have a ton of positions that need improved on, and I just think cornerback would be a nice sort of place. I think as long as you've got a good secondary position, like at least one good player there, I think it can massively help the people around them. I know that helped us a lot last year when we got Alexander and, Breland got a bit better. Williams got a bit better. Just our secondary in general, you just saw a huge improvement, and I think the Raiders will be hoping for that same impact if they do take a cornerback here. The Giants' divisional rivals, Eagles, are on the clock at 25. Who do they take?
I'll let you go first, Alan.
Chris Lindstrom, guard from Boston.
That's an interesting pick.
I think the Eagles get incredibly lucky and take Devin Bush from Michigan.
Jesus,
really?
25. You have him dropping to 25.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you? I bet you've just looked at one mock draft.
I feel like that's what you've done, Adam.
Excuse me, I looked at least 2. Right.
Okay, well,
I made my own.
I've not been. No, I've got him come down here because, well, he'll be the best player left by that point as well, and I think it's a position that the Eagles need. Where did you guys have him going?
Devin Bush, 11.
20.
Ooh,
See, I even thought 20 was a stretch.
Yeah, Adam, you don't have him that far.
And 5 more places, that's a lot.
Yeah, well,
it is, to be fair.
To be honest, I don't think I've picked many linebackers going before that or anything, so...
Yeah.
I think it's what the Eagles need, so...
Yeah.
Sorry that is so controversial.
I have them taking Jerry Tillery, defensive tackle from Notre Dame. I just think he's been on fire all season, and I just think the Eagles need a defensive tackle, so get the best one available, who, for me, in my opinion, at this stage would be Jerry Tillery.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Adam?
I said...
Chris, what was his name?
Lindstrom.
Yeah, why him? Bit of an interesting one.
Because Carson Wentz is so injury prone. I think they're taking a guard to stop people touching him before he breaks something again.
So just basically, you think they just go, rather than thinking about an individual player like position, they just use this pick to help improve Wentz and his fitness.
He's the future of that franchise, and they need to keep him healthy. That's what it is.
And they've showed faith in him, massive faith in him now as well, by letting Nick Foles walk.
Definitely.
26, James, we'll let you start with this one.
I have gone for Dexter Lawrence. I think
bit of a biased pick here, I have a feeling.
No, I think the main need is a defensive tackle. So I think he's the best one available at this point, and that's kind of the main reason. Adam, who do you have? I'm going to guess you've got Metcalf.
Are you talking to me? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Just the Colts are that irrelevant. Yeah, I have Metcalf going to the Colts.
Oh, what a surprise.
Because they've got an irrelevant wide receiver. I mean, Eric Ebron's all right. He's not great. I mean, yeah, so I just said Metcalf going. Yeah, because Andrew Luck really needs some help out there because he's all out there by himself.
I mean, he threw the second most
He
threw the quarterbacks.
Second most touchdowns last season. I don't think he needs that much help.
No, he needs
Because he's
more
got the
help
quality.
because how bad
has
people
the
are
quality.
around him. He needs decent players coming in.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I mean, at least I don't support the Giants.
Okay. I think
I'll step. What's that supposed to mean?
Okay, yeah, I'll step in here, right? I have them taking Taylor Rapp, safety from Washington. I think Pierre Desir, class cornerback. Why not get a class safety to sit behind him? Taylor Rapp, standard pick. Maybe I think far from the best player available, but I think just a really good fit. Maybe the best fit left in terms of who the Colts could take. Yeah, I think all the good defensive tackles will be off the board by this point, unless he's moved up. And I think Taylor Rapp's a nice, safe, once again low risk, high reward pick. Good upside. The Raiders' final pick. I have them taking Josh Jacobs here, who we've already talked about. So who do you have them taking?
Noah Fant, tight end from Iowa.
Understandable.
I've got them taking DeAndre Baker.
Oh, so I've already talked about him going to the Raiders as well. So we both, me and you both had them taking Baker and Jacobs, but alternating picks. Adam, we'll just talk to you here then. Why not Fant?
Just keep strengthening that offense because as much as it pains me to say it, Derek Carr is even worse than Andrew Luck, and I don't know how that's possible. But I just feel he needs more help than just Antonio Brown. He needs a second option.
And they've just lost Jared Cook as well, who was their star.
Yeah, he's off to the Saints, which I think is a good move for him because he's about to get a Super Bowl.
Yeah, maybe,
or at least an appearance in the Super Bowl.
Wait, is he going to the Colts?
No, he's
off.
What?
Why? Adam was on about the Super Bowl. So I mean...
Oh, shit.
Well, Saints are in the NFC. That could still happen.
I thought you said winner. So.
Oh, for God's sake!
Oh my God.
The Chargers.
Why'd you get invited onto this? Is that rubbish?
Chargers at 28.
Have you speaking about the Colts?
Joe's moving this on.
I'm trying to move it on.
Right.
Chargers at 28.
But I have either Byron Murphy or Greedy Williams, both good cornerbacks, like the two best in the draft. And a bit like I said with the Seahawks, it's just going to depend who they think will fit better in that squad. Pretty much.
That'll be one hell of a secondary.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've already got the robbed defensive rookie of the year back there. I won't mention his name because it'll annoy James. But anyway, James, who do you have there?
I've got the guy with the coolest name in the draft of Rock Yassin.
Rocky Sin. You have him going first round.
Rock Yassin.
What?
I just like his name.
You've picked him for the Chargers purely because you like his name.
You just wanted to say his name in this draft, didn't you? In the podcast, that's all.
Nah, I think they'll go for a cornerback, and I think he's good and at the best one available after the ones who have already gone.
Right.
So, that's pretty much self-explanatory. Not just the names.
I know Chargers fans have said that Phillip Rivers had barely any time in the pocket last year, so I've just sort of used that in my choice to pick, and I've went offensive line here and went Dalton Risner from Kansas State. I just think this will be a solid pickup for the Chargers here. Just purely give Rivers more time before he retires, let him have another good year. I think the Chargers also, similar to the Saints, are going to be strong Super Bowl contenders this year. So it'll be interesting to see how their season goes. Number 29, the Chiefs. I think no matter who they take, they're not going to be better than Chris Jones, so there's a lot of pressure on whoever gets picked here. But who do you have going?
I've got Dexter Lawrence from Clemson, defensive tackle.
Right.
Just
James?
try and fill Chris Jones's boots, really. Big shoes to fill.
It's a hard ask. It's a really hard ask.
He's got a lot of weight on those shoulders.
I've went Garrett Bradbury, the centre from North Carolina State. Just Chiefs need a centre. They need a lot of defensive positions, but at this stage, I think Garrett Bradbury is a nice pickup at centre, so go for it.
Fair enough.
James?
I've got Jenkins from Mississippi State, the centre as well. Kind of same reason as you, Joe. It's what I think they need.
It'll just be good for Mahomes, won't it?
Yeah, it will be.
Number 30 back to the Packers. Oh yeah, who you have first?
I've got
Adam.
Draymond Jones, defensive tackle. I don't know where he's from.
Jesus. I hope you're wrong.
Why? Why?
I've never heard of him.
This, like I said, out of the 2 draft picks, they said Dwayne Haskins was going there. I didn't agree with that, so I put him.
Dwayne Haskins?
Yeah,
oh my God.
They were saying Dwayne Haskins was going.
I've seen a couple.
He isn't dropping the 30. That's disrespectful to Dwayne Haskins.
So I put Draymond Jones, defensive tackle.
Yeah, fairs.
I don't know why. Like James,
I mean, we could do with a defensive tackle.
His name is fun to say. Draymond Jones.
Yeah, that's quite normal, but okay.
All right, James.
I've got you
James
taken.
DeBall.
I have you taken
The L.
either a wide receiver or tight end.
Same. I've got wide receiver.
I've gone. I've gone between AJ Brown. And I think because I've not said Fant yet, so I thought he'll also be available.
No, Fant. I would be happy with either of them. I went for Hollywood Brown. So I think same as you, wide receiver, tight end. I think we definitely go with one of them at the 30th pick. Just give Rodgers more weapons.
Yeah, I'm gonna go AJ Brown as like the number one.
Yeah. 31, the Rams.
Adam, you go first.
Eric McCoy.
Ooh.
Right.
I've gone Jeffrey Simons, defensive tackle.
Yeah. I've went Greg Little from Ole Miss, the offensive tackle. Just think that O-line just needs a bit of work, and the Rams don't really need to strengthen in many places, but
Yeah.
the O-line's probably looking the weakest out of everywhere on their field at the minute for them. And I don't know, give Jared Goff a bit more time to do his little play actions.
He was always slow passing off the ball, so just...
He loves the play action as well, so if that offensive line can give him more time to do them, then go for it.
I think it's a steal if they get Jeffrey Simons, because I think as I mentioned before, he hadn't torn his ACL in February. I think he's a top 10, so I think this will be a good pickup for the Rams.
Adam?
I said mine. I said Eric McCoy, centre.
Why?
Oh, why?
Would they take a centre?
Just to give Goff more time, open lanes for Gurley to run through.
So just
pretty
sort
much
of same as
bog
tackle.
standard, yeah.
Yeah, I think once you get this like sort of stage, you just do go for, I don't know, just improve the position that needs improved the most.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I have the Patriots just because I think this is destined to happen. They've just lost Gronkowski, obviously retiring. They're going to get another probably future All-Pro tight end and Noah Fant from Iowa. It just seems like this is, knowing their luck, this just seems destined to happen. Get a quality tight end in straight away to replace Gronk.
I have gone with the same as you, Joe.
Noah Fant.
Different again.
Because obviously I think if you could also see them, because I think I chose AJ Brown going to you guys instead of Fant. I'm going to go, I think Fant will be a first rounder, and as you said, it will just fall into the hands of the Patriots.
Yeah, Adam?
I put Paris Campbell, wide receiver from Ohio State.
Oh. Yeah.
Just need a wide receiver. With the loss of Gronkowski, another option instead of just throwing to Edelman.
Yeah.
There's no Josh Gordon. Yeah, Josh Gordon now. Which I think
I don't think anyone knows what's happening with him.
I think he needs to take a year off. If it's mental health, that's the issue. He needs to take a year out.
Yeah.
So I think just having a different option compared to Edelman, I just feel the Patriots need that.
Yeah. Oh, that's the full mock draft. I don't know. Is there anything else you just want to talk about around the draft? Maybe a few trades that could happen, or
yeah, we would talk about trades.
Well, I think the first one is the Jags need a wide receiver, but I think most people know they're not going to take a wide receiver with pick number 7. So, if you were the Jags, would you maybe use a second rounder and package a few other picks as well to move back into the first round a bit later to pick one up? Someone like AJ Brown or Marquise Brown?
No.
Oh, in sync there.
Great Great, nasty.
Love that. Right, what? Why not?
Are we going to say the reasons at the same time as well?
You can't do it.
No.
Do you want Taylor?
I'll go first because I just think the wide receivers this year aren't like amazing, aren't good enough to trade to a first round to get one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the slowest classes since 2000. And I just think will be better ones coming. If they rely on Fournette to run, Nick Foles to throw a few balls, I say a few. They just rely on Fournette more, I think, is what's going to happen. And then they'll just pick a wide receiver up in the next round. Or not in the next round, in the next draft.
Can they trust Fournette? I mean, he's got a few issues with discipline.
I think
a few suspensions and fines. Would you put your faith in the Fournette?
I would, yeah. 1,000-yard season as a rookie. He's now in his third year, coming off the back of an injury. I think he gets back into it. He's going to have matured.
Yeah.
And I just think that time out will show him what being like life without football will be like, and it'll just mature him.
Yeah. James, why wouldn't you move into the first round if you were the Jags to take a wide receiver?
I don't think it's the number one priority for them, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the main reason. I think they'll go for Taylor first. I think that's the main thing for them.
Moving on, then, you're a Colts fan. You mentioned before they need a really good defensive tackle, probably your main priority. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the main priority.
So would you maybe move out to take one of the best ones?
No, because I think we'd be getting a very good one in Dexter Lawrence. But
if
you had him going there. Yeah,
assume that you didn't get him and they were all off the board. Do you think it's worth moving up for one?
To be honest, it depends what we lose with it. But I mean, I wouldn't be against that. But also, I just have a lot of faith in our kind of staff to get top players at any point in the draft like we did last year. So, I mean, I'm not too sure if we can get Dexter Lawrence, then I'm happy staying. If there's the opportunity, as you said, to move up, then I also agree with that.
Yeah. Do you think, obviously, a few teams need a quarterback in some people's eyes, the Giants, the Redskins, the Dolphins, a few teams around there sort of could do with one. So do you think any of them will put in a trade for Josh Rosen before the draft happens?
Yes.
Who?
I mentioned it before, didn't I? Who did I say it again?
Mention it again.
You said the Redskins, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I said the Redskins.
So out of all the teams who could do with the quarterback, you think the Redskins is the best option for Rosen?
Yeah, I think they'll want him. I think they could do with a quarterback, and I think they might not bother looking into the draft kind of to take a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my main reasoning, but I think I think he could fit into that well, and obviously with I'm just trying to see who I had the Redskins taking. Yeah, I had them taking Brian Burns. I think that could be a good pickup for them, as well as getting a good quarterback in Rosen if they were to trade for that. So that's kind of the reasoning.
Adam?
I don't think they'll trade before the draft.
So you think they'll be happy for the value to go down but still get rid of him?
I think the Cardinals will want to trade him before the draft. I don't think any of the teams are going to trade him before.
Because they'll want to see what the Cardinals do with the first pick.
They're going to call their bluff in that they're not taking their quarterback, even though they probably are. Like, it's looking like they are. And once they've got, like I said before, once they've got two quarterbacks on their roster, it's going to be a lot harder to ship Rosen off for the price they wanted. Because they were looking at a second-round pick from the Giants, and I think that'll drop.
Yeah.
Not drastically, but a few rounds.
Probably the last question then for surrounding trades at the minute. Assuming that the Cardinals don't take Kyler Murray at number one and they keep Josh Rosen as their quarterback, do you think there's any teams who would want to trade into the number one spot to take Murray?
I think no team after the Cardinals up until the Giants will want a quarterback. So if he doesn't get taken at 1, he goes at 6, I think. I think Kyler Murray is too good to miss off.
Also, I think Cardinals wouldn't want to give up that number one spot, because if they didn't want to take Kyler Murray, I think they'd take
Nick Bosa
straight away. So I don't think that unless the 49ers wanted a well, that wouldn't make a difference. So
that's fair enough.
Yeah,
I think they just stay in the same position.
All right then. Is there any questions you two have about trades or anything you want to ask?
No, I think I'm all right.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Oh well, cheers for coming on and going through your mock drafts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Yeah, no bother. So we'll look forward to the draft on Thursday night. Thanks everyone for listening. See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.